So Sprint and T-Mobile are set to merge. The article that I read, and I linked to it on Twitter, one of my followers, I don't have a device to pull up your tweet, so I'll put your Twitter name in the description of this video, I guess, once I find it, and once this video is uploaded from my phone. Front-facing camera, HTC One M8 Google Play Edition. So Sprint is set to buy T-Mobile for about $32 billion. If this does not go through, Sprint is supposed to pay them a breakup fee or something like that, kind of like the whole AT&T and T-Mobile thing a long time ago, a fee of over $1 billion. I don't want Sprint to buy T-Mobile. I was watching videos back on my Evo 3D more than 2 years ago, and I had one bar of service out of 6 bars or 5 bars. So the total of 5 or 6 bars on my phone, and one of those bars was lit up. And my phone was having a hard time giving me that 1 bar of service. It's been over 2 years. Every single time I call Sprint to complain about my service, they say, we're doing tower upgrades in your area. Well, a lot of my followers, subscribers, whatever, a lot of them are saying the same thing I'm saying. They're fed up with it. They're not getting service. They can't make phone calls. There's been several times that 95.7, the Vibe, there's here in Kansas City, there's 95.7 the Vibe, there's 97.5, there's 93.3 mix something, I don't know. I'm too caught up in all this mess right now to think of all the radio stations things. But 93.3, 95.7. You had to go on this website they have and do the ATM code. You couldn't get your 3G to load the web page. If you were not at home, you were absolutely screwed. You were absolutely screwed. You could not get Sprint 3G with full bars of 3G. You couldn't get it to load. Not to talk about the fact that it jumps to 1 bar of 4G LTE to 0 bars of LTE back to 3G. And you've got to pretty much set your phone to only connect to 3G, which is unbearably slow. And when you do get that one hint, that one tiny little bar of LTE, you cling on to it. Because that's a signal that actually works a little bit. So it's not me. There are areas, don't get me wrong, there are some areas where Sprint LTE picks up fine. People enjoy their service, and that's great. That's great. But I've lived in this area for over 3 years now. Over 3 years. It has been a long time since I've actually been able to hold a phone call without dropping it or actually use my data. When my Wi-Fi's out because Comcast is down, I've been left completely stranded with no internet at all. No internet at all. Because Sprint 3G, no. It'll say full bars, but I promise you, web pages will not load, things will not work. That's not all the time. Sometimes the 3G, if it's 1 or 2 bars, it's funny. When it's 1 or 2 bars, it tends to work, but it's super slow. But when your 3G is fully lit up and you have all your bars, you can't use it. So, after being frustrated for a long time, I finally got T-Mobile. I got T-Mobile's little $30 a month plan to try it out and see how well it picked up in Kansas City. And I loved it. I got one of their little $30 a month unlimited data. Well, they give you 5 gigs of LTE, and then after you use up the 5 gigs of LTE, you're dropped down to 2G. But I never went over that 5 gigs. I almost did a couple times, but I never went over it. The service was so good, and I found myself carrying around my Nexus 5 more than my Note 3 with Sprint. Because my Note 3 never had signal, it never worked. But my T-Mobile phone, my LTE was more reliable than my home internet with Comcast. I could always count on my T-Mobile LTE. If I get 2 bars, I get about 20 to 22, 23 down at any given moment. If I if I go outside, because I live in a 3-story house, it's small, but it's still 3 stories. This is actually what used to be the attic. I get, if I go outside, I get 3 to 4 bars. And then it goes 35 to 36 to 38 down. Yes, I'm talking about 13, 14, 15 megabytes per second on the upload. Like, beautiful speeds with T-Mobile. I can go to Overland Park. I can go to Gardner. I can go to Independence. I can go to Kansas City. I can go to any city I visit on a frequent basis, and I have T-Mobile service. I used to carry around my Sprint Note 3 and my T-Mobile phone. Right now, my T-Mobile SIM card is in my HTC One and Mate Google Play Edition. Because I love this phone. It's my favorite phone right now. I only carry this phone around. I don't carry my Sprint phone around anymore because I know I'm not going to have service. And by Sprint buying T-Mobile, I feel like T-Mobile's too good for Sprint. T-Mobile is too good for Sprint. So I'll put in the description. The rant about Sprint and T-Mobile actually starts at 6 minutes. Everything, all my experience over the last 3 years with them led up to that with Sprint. So, quickly, back to the whole T-Mobile thing. I had their $30 a month. You got a $30 card from Walmart or wherever. You put in the code. You had unlimited data. You had unlimited texting, but like 100 minutes, which I never really touched those minutes unless I actually had to. And then at the time, I was using Groove IP, which was using my Wi-Fi or my data to make phone calls. So I went out and got an actual plan with T-Mobile. I got a family plan with T-Mobile because the service was so damn good. We cut off all our Sprint lines except one, which I still have right now because it's on the contract and I can't end it. And I already have T-Mobile and AT&T. We just got AT&T and they wouldn't buy out they wouldn't pay the ETF's early termination fee like T-Mobile would, and I already had T-Mobile. I've actually considered canceling. I might still try it actually. Canceling my T-Mobile number, my T-Mobile line, since it's not on the contract, and I brought my own device and didn't sign any contracts. Having T-Mobile buy my Sprint phone, buy that service, pay that early termination fee, and then have a new number to T-Mobile. I've thought about it, but I may still end up doing it. But that just reminds me of this whole Sprint buying T-Mobile thing. That means they're going to be one. That means Sprint's going to own T-Mobile, and I don't think that should happen. I think that T-Mobile is too good for Sprint. Sprint can't provide their customers with service. You call to complain about your service, there's tower upgrades in your area. What if tower upgrades complete? What if this whole 3-year thing has just been towers and they'll finally fix the... I got a text message months and months ago saying, congrats, tower upgrades in your area. And I posted on Instagram. It was a long time ago, so you're going to scroll through a whole lot of posts. But I promise you on Instagram, there's a screenshot of my messages on my Sprint Note 3 that said, tower upgrades are near complete, service should be restored or better. And I think it said August. I think. I don't remember. August last year, something like that. But, well, okay, so back to what I was saying. I had ADHD, I go off topic, I'm sorry. Back to what I was saying. Even if one day this service works, what happens if Sprint says we need to do tower upgrades again? Congrats! Your phone isn't going to work for 3 more years. Hopefully you have Wi-Fi. And we want to soak up more than $100 a month from you for 3 years while you don't have service. The only time I have service is when I go out of state. When I go to Nashville, there are certain cities around Nashville that pick it up. In Murfreesboro, my stepdad saw me getting 36 megabytes down on my T-Mobile phone while his Sprint phone kept bouncing between LTE and 3G. LTE and 3G. Couldn't lock LTE in very good. Even he's considering going to T-Mobile. But Sprint does have a wider coverage than T-Mobile. But that's not a good thing necessarily, because I can tell you that I visit Tennessee on a frequent basis because we've got family near Nashville. And I can tell you that trying to play Google Play Music on my phone is a nightmare. I will wait 5 minutes for a song to buffer. It'll play for 3 seconds, and then it'll wait 5 more minutes. I will pick up my phone when it's safe to do so, and it's 3G and it's roaming. And that's because with the stock ROM on it, your phone will not accurately display 1x. 1x, which is dial-up, looks like high-speed internet compared to 1x. Install an app like Signal Check Pro the next time it says 3G and roaming on a stock ROM. Install Signal Check Pro. That'll give you, or even Lite, that will give you an accurate reading. It will tell you you are on 1x. And that's why you would rather hurt yourself than use your phone. I'll just say that because I know that suicide's a touchy subject. But anyways, it's been almost 12 minutes and I'm still ranting. T-Mobile, don't let Sprint buy you. Don't let your service go to shit because of Sprint. Seriously, you're better than Sprint. You don't need Sprint. You might think you need their money, but trust me, you don't need Sprint. Sprint's too good for you, T-Mobile. Or you're too good for them. I'm sorry. You're too good for Sprint. A link to this article will be in the description. It's supposed to be announced and I think finished by July or August. A link will be in the description. Thank you to the person that sent me the article. When he tweeted the link to me, it said the article was posted today at 6:11 p.m. It's 6:38 right now. It was the minutes after that article posted that he tweeted me. Like, I don't even think it was that because I know it took me a little bit of time to find a quiet area to record. T-Mobile, you're too good for Sprint. Don't let them buy you. I promise you. I'm done with Sprint. My contract's up in March. And I am going to Verizon. And I might go to Verizon before then. I might let T-Mobile buy me out of my contract and cancel my T-Mobile phone that's not on a contract. T-Mobile line that's on a contract. I'm going to do something so I don't have to pay Sprint over $100 a month anymore for service that I never get to use unless I'm at home on Wi-Fi. I can have an unactivated device that's not on a plan and use Wi-Fi. I don't need to pay Sprint over $100. I'd rather give over $100 a month to T-Mobile, to Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, some other carrier that can give me service than the Sprint. If you're living in an area where Sprint works, great. I'm happy for you. Keep paying your bill. Keep enjoying your data. But I've gotten so many tweets over the years, comments on videos, emails, messages, whatever. I'm not the only one out there that's getting shafted by Sprint, paying monthly for service that I rarely ever get to use when I'm away from home or in some city where my T-Mobile phone doesn't work but my Sprint phone does or something. I'm not rambling anymore. I'm out. T-Mobile, you're way too good for Sprint. Your service has been awesome. I really enjoy it. It's very fast. I feel that I get what I pay for. Every time I call customer support, it's an absolute pleasure. I don't have to call multiple times. With Sprint, you will call multiple times. You will get a fake confirmation number saying something, and then when you go call back to verify, that number doesn't exist in their system. They can't pull up the record of who you talked to. Sprint will lie to you. Sprint will do whatever they can to get you off the phone. They will transfer you 13 times to half resolve a problem or say they resolved a problem that they didn't. T-Mobile, it's just one phone call. Maybe a couple transfers, but one phone call. And your issue is taken care of. And you're squared away. T-Mobile has been a pleasure. Every time I call them, their customer support's very nice. They don't give you the runaround. With Sprint, you call their customer support, it's like that person on the phone, their one and only goal is to get you off the phone as quickly as possible so they can end their day or whatever. So they can, I don't know. It's been over 15 minutes. I'm sorry it's been this long. I don't know. I was gonna say leave a comment about something so I know you watched this long, but that's stupid.